Well, I think the FDA's decision was very confusing because what they did was initially they rejected the booster shots. And if you saw the titles, you would see FDA rejects. And what they rejected was giving a booster across the board. And then they said FDA approves. And what they approved was booster shots for seniors over 65 and for people at risk. That was very confusing, first of all. And the US is facing a massive trust crisis. Unlike here, not everyone in Israel vaccinated, but the backlash of unvaccinated lives matter and just mistrust of the government, we don't experience this here. So I think government trust was not gained by the FDA going no and then yes, even if it's no to overarching vaccination and then yes to more refined shots. I also want to say, I'm not sure I want to seek guidance on how to treat COVID from the United States of America, where 2,000 out of every million residents died of COVID, 2,000. In Israel, we're talking about 800. Those are enormous differences. The United States is nearing 700,000 COVID deaths. I think they should be rushing to take the vaccine and the booster, and this is not happening. So they should probably be asking themselves what is going on and what are their considerations.
Good points there. Looking at the Israeli situation, what's your analysis of our latest numbers here? The daily infection rates have remained stubbornly high, and that's despite more than 3 million people already third dosed with the vaccine. Where are we headed?
I think COVID is here to stay. I think we also need to differentiate between being infected, which could mean you're asymptomatic or you're feeling not so great, and being ventilated. And there are not many people who are ventilated, thank God. So we can keep on living. And the goal, and the Prime Minister Bennett said that very clearly, the goal is to keep on living alongside COVID. And it seems to be contained now. We're not looking at lockdowns anymore. Schools are open, weddings happen, theater is open. So life is back to normal with COVID. And by the way, people get sick and die all the time. I'm not belittling COVID. I'm just saying we can't stop the world and panic because we have a new disease which can be contained and is being contained.
What's your perspective here on the booster or the vaccine being opened up to younger kids, 12 and under? Israel is seen right now as waiting for the FDA decision, but does that make sense in this case that Israel would go along with the FDA there despite the example around the boosters?
I think we need to look at safety data. That's the important thing. We can't look at long-term data because guess what? We don't have another 15 or 20 years. But it does make sense to look at data. I'm not sure the FDA really set a wonderful example in this case, but we have no choice other than to look for scientific evidence and to ask people to vaccinate. It would probably be very helpful if all teachers vaccinated. Actually, that would protect children. And then it's up to the parents to decide whether or not to vaccinate their kids. And we have seen, though, that children 16 and above have been vaccinating, and there are no massive side effects. There's nothing that should be very concerning. So I don't know necessarily that children 12 and above should be concerned about side effects.
Dr. Talya Miron-Shatz, thanks for being with us today.